You. You know, you know what I like more than the sound of this music? It's the sound of this music on a Friday. It just makes it so much better. It means we've conquered a week. But let's put things in perspective on a little bit more of a down tone introduction. When there's an event at a museum about love, cohesiveness, people, freedom, love, is turned upside down by an insane, motivated by, I'm going to say, primarily the left side of the aisle, and encouraged by the left side of the aisle to go to a museum and shoot dead, execution style, two young adults about to be engaged. Now, this has all already been reported in every single news network if you have missed it. But Elias Rodriguez isn't Palestinian. He's not Arab by birth, but he's a member of a group that's pro-Palestine, who uttered a death cry and stated, "Free Palestine. I did it for Palestine. I did it for Gaza." To the mothers and fathers of Yaron and Sarah, to innocent bystanders, whether they're attached or not attached to an embassy or a government or a nationality or a religion, they were not an enemy combatant holding a Galil, an AK-47, a rifle, a gun. They didn't throw rocks, hand grenades, bombs, utilizing aid to create terror tunnels and buy weapons and murder women and children. They went to a museum to talk about peace, talk about love, harmony, talk about if the prisoners were released today, we would have peace today. Hi, everybody. I'm Stuart Brisgell. That's David Solomon. This is an unapologetic discussion. And we've been hosting these Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the last 5 years. Whether it's breaking the latest headlines, exploring pop culture, debating politics, or delving into the complexities of modern life, this is a podcast from every side. I would say grab a seat and settle in, but there is no settling in. When you have a nation in mourning and a country dying of cancer, the Democratic Party, who claims to be the party of love, seems to be encouraging a policy of death throughout the world by arguing the rights of a group that is hostile to America, hostile to its friends, and inviting them into every facet and every corner of our existence. To one end, to watch the murder of a 30-year-old guy and a 26-year-old woman in the nation's capital, executed and discharging a firearm, and yet the Democratic Party has remained silent. You know, David, I wasn't planning on stealing a quarter of this time, but I find myself completely, utterly overwhelmed. And I only pray. And, I was at a conference the other day where it was sponsored by a very, very, very prominent Jewish family. We had Alan Dershowitz, we had Rogers, we had a senator running for governor of Florida. And you know what they all said? They all spoke about the atrocities that are being promoted by the left and how the vitriolness of the left is the one causing the rift in this country and the senseless murder of two individuals. I just cannot understand. David, sorry.
No, don't apologize. It's a day of disgust. And Stuart, I got to tell you, my niece and her husband were there. They were at that museum event. They left an hour earlier, mortified to find out what happened after they left. You know what they discussed in there, Stuart? How do we get more aid into Gaza? You know what they discussed? Peace, harmony, the changing Middle East. Stuart, what you said, I agree with, except one thing. This isn't about an Arab. This is about radical Islam. It's about terrorism on American shores. It's about targeting Jews. It's about the brainwashing that has occurred on college campuses by media, by political leaders. And with all due respect to AOC and Alex Soros, these bastards who fucking funded and encouraged campus riots and are standing behind Mahmoud Khalil. Today, they stand up and condemn anti-Semitism. Fuck you. Fuck all of you. Fuck anti-Semitism, but it's like, are you paying attention to anything that you're doing here? Hitler didn't go after Jews. Hitler went after an inferior race. He went after Jews, blacks, gays, physically handicapped, mentally handicapped. You name it. He went after all of them. He thought Jesse Owens was inferior. And you encourage and embrace that ideology today. Folks, this is not, what's crazy here is two young people about to start a life together. All they have is a job at an embassy. They were killed because they were Jewish, which, by the way, interestingly enough, Yaron's mother is Christian. So, what were you targeting? To say that the man was insane, Stuart, I think was a mistake. He's not insane. That gives him an alibi. He's brainwashed. He's been brainwashed by people on the media. He's been brainwashed by people on The View. He's been brainwashed by people, politicians, social media. When you keep hearing this mantra that the best way to clear, it's Judenreich. You want to get rid of Jews. This is not about Gaza, people, because shooting two innocent young people in an embassy event is not freeing Palestine. Get over it. What he did was terrorism on American shores. No different than bombing a fertility clinic. No different than shooting up a gay club a number of years ago. No different than going after innocent people. What I am sickened by, Stuart, today is George Floyd was killed by policemen. Okay, whatever the how and however. And globally, people mobilize to demand a change in the way we police. Whether you're on that side or that side, I don't care. The reaction. Today, the reaction is muted. And only a handful of people who've been standing up since day one are screaming and yelling. Listen, I'm mad at Mr. Trump for accepting a plane from Qatar. Okay? He's encouraged this country to continue to fund terrorists, to fund campuses. I know what he did at Harvard. I know what he just did right now by rescinding their ability to accept international students. He's going after Columbia. He's going after the poison ivy schools. We get it. It's not enough. It's not enough. And I'm sorry to say, but the Democrats, the left, the media, you're guilty. You're guilty today of murder. You're guilty of murder today because you encouraged this. You are the mouthpiece of Hamas, the Muslim Brotherhood, the people who are killing innocent Palestinians. Don't blame Israel. Anybody would have a brain who's noticing what's going on. This isn't Israel's fault. Hamas caused this on October the 7th, encouraged by Iran, encouraged by Qatar, encouraged by Al Jazeera, spreading the hate by the media, continuing to perpetuate lie after lie after lie, supported and financed by George Soros, his son Alex, and all these haters. And you're sitting here today saying, oh, we should condemn anti-Semitism. Fuck you. The war's on the streets, people. Wake the fuck up. You think they're only going to come after us? You're next. Because when they want to build Islamic-only communities in places like Texas, Stuart, okay, where they've already commissioned land, where they've already wanted, and they say you cannot join our community unless you embrace our faith. What do you think is happening? And what do you think is happening when it comes up to, going onto college campuses and students can't go to class because they are allegedly supporting Israel? Come on. You've caused this, people. And Elias Rodriguez, coming from Chicago to Washington to do this, is not insanity. It's part of the plan. And the plan is being rolled out. And if it isn't stopped hard and giving him the death penalty, Stuart, with all due respect, that's just a Band-Aid. The cause of the problem, the root of the problem, must be eradicated. You must cut off the Soros family at the neck. You have to cut off the media at their throats. Stop giving me this 60 minutes bullshit that, it's part of a merger for Paramount. We have to co-zip to Trump. Report the fucking news properly. Get the fucking facts. You're guilty of murder today. You should be incarcerated for what you've done. Because it ain't over, Stuart. There's more to come. There's more bloodshed to come. I promise you. And it ain't from us. Watch.
David, what I find also quite curious, according to the FBI, he flew on an airplane from Washington, from Chicago on Tuesday. They claim he bought a gun 5 years ago, 9mm. How did he get his gun from Chicago to DC? That's one question I still have outstanding. Moreover, if he flew, chances are he didn't have the gun. If he did, who aided and abetted him to get the gun there? And if not, who in DC supplied the gun and the ammo? David, I have more questions than answers, but I don't disagree with you that there is a problem. I joke and jokingly with you and with many people that aren't from Florida about why to own a gun. And I find the arguments that everyone has made in the past completely and utterly moot. I believe the bad guys have guns, good guys need guns, and bad guys need to be thrown out of the country, and the Democrats that prevent them from being thrown out of the country need to be turned upside down, removed from office, and ended. This war was started by Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, and the Democratic Party of the United States of America on October the 7th. David?
You know what, Stuart? I'm going to tell you, you're asking about how his gun got there and whatever. And I think today the question is not about how your gun got there. It's what are you going to do to change what's happening right now? The radicalism is out there. How do you stop it? How do you stop it? When you have politically motivated individuals who want this chaos, who want this type of shenanigans to get reelected or to get elected.
Well, the inverse problem is you have people running around calling oligarchy.
No,
They
you're going down that road again.
David, you're not listening. Let me finish, please. When you have the left claiming they are not the problem, and they are, the Elon Omars, the AOCs,
Well, yeah,
okay, the Bernie Sanders, the Kamala Harrises, correct, the billionaires, George Soros, all the Soros clan. How about you forgot to mention the Rothschilds? There are family after family. They are the billionaires and zillionaires. The oligarchy of this country are the ones sponsoring the terror.
It's not just them. You can't, Stuart, you're right. They're sponsoring the terrorism.
Correct. It's not just them.
It's not just
when
you get money funneled in from Qatar into universities, when you get money funneled in from Saudi Arabia into universities, Iran, China, Russia, look at the list. It's not just a bunch of oligarchs. And you know what, Stuart? The media, and they're being taught in school to hate. And then they go into the workforce and they say, we're reporting the facts. They don't have the facts. They have an agenda, and their agenda is to find ways to hate on Israel. It's interesting, Stuart, because when you go to some of the podcasters who are out there, okay, including guys like Chris Cuomo, who was joked and laughed at CNN, you know what he's saying today? You guys have it all wrong. It's not, you're blaming the wrong, it's not the Jews. Jews are just a target. Everyone in the West is a target. Anybody who believes in democracy is a target. Anybody who believes in freedom of religion is a target. Anybody who believes in freedom of, sexuality and women's rights or whatever is a target. And yet the idiots, the useful idiots who are supporting, gays for Palestine and all that. And you know what? The mistake that they keep saying is these are pro-Palestinians. They're not pro-Palestinian. Because if you're pro-Palestinian, you're getting rid of Hamas today. If you were pro-Palestinian, you would demand that Hamas disarm and release the hostages, because that would end the war. That would end all of this stuff. And you could rebuild Gaza. But what you're doing instead is you are being anti-Semites. You're anti-West. You are perpetuating and pushing this mantra. And AOC is guilty. And Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, who go onto college campuses and encourage this, are guilty. And Akima Jeffries, who stands up for Mahmoud Khalil, is guilty. And every media house who stands up there and believes that free speech means hate speech is guilty. That's my message today.
On that note, I'm going to bring this Friday, very sad day of May 23rd, 2025 to an end. And that's a wrap. We truly appreciate you tuning in, sharing this message with everyone you know. Your support and engagement on this issue and every issue we bring up to foster an honest, open, thought-provoking conversation. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern, you get one of us, both of us, sometimes even more. Stay connected through our social media channels. Let us know your thoughts, your questions, topics to discuss. Your feedback shapes this community. And it has truly been a pleasure being here today, bringing you what the news fails to bring to you in a podcast.